So it's Saturday night, and my lifestyle is so rock and roll now that I make videos about Everton as opposed to go gallivanting around town. Those days are long gone. However, I did go out last week, and anybody who is 30 or around that age or older will tell you that it starts to get harder. Like last Saturday I went out with work, and I think I'm still recovering now. It just gets so tough. But the point of this video is I read an article earlier on GrandOldTeam by Catherintherye, which I suggest after you've watched this video and we've graded Carlo Ancelotti's first month in charge of Everton. It's been a month already. It still seems weird that Carlo Ancelotti is the Everton manager. I suggest that you go over to www.GrandOldTeam and you take a little look at this article written by Catherintherye, which inspired me to do this video because it was fantastic, really, really good. And in this article, Cather breaks down Ancelotti's first month. And one of the things that he does, which I found quite interesting, was he compared Marco Silva's last 7 games and Carlo Ancelotti's first 7 games. And so in that time, Everton, as you all well know, under Carlo Ancelotti had lost twice. In the same time under Marco Silva, we'd lost 4 times. We've scored 8 and conceded 6. Under Carlo Ancelotti, and under Marco Silva in the same time we conceded 14 and scored 10. So I think you don't really have to have watched the game like played the game at a terribly high level. You don't have to be one of these people who takes a lot of interest in tactics to look at Everton and realise what Carlo Ancelotti has done. Bar Tuesday, which was incredibly annoying. I think Everton do look, on the whole, a lot more defensively sound. That's a given. We look a lot less likely to concede. Bit more compact, and you can see the work that Carlo Ancelotti and Duncan Ferguson are doing on the training ground with the lads, because we don't look like a side that's got this soft underbelly that can be got at incredibly easy. And again, this is backed up by some of the performances. We again, Newcastle aside, the derby aside, Manchester City away aside, although the City game for me was at the back end of like a really, really tough run. I remember being in the ground saying to the guy next to me after the Norwich defeat, saying to him, like, I'm worried about December. I am really, really worried about December. And that in the end, those concerns didn't come to pass. Between them, Duncan Ferguson and Carlo Ancelotti picked up some decent results. And then we got to the end, that run of games, and we played City, and you could tell the lads just ran out of steam. I did a video after that match saying as much. But ultimately, if you think about games like Brighton at home, Burnley away, when we went up to Newcastle around Christmas as well, the way that we won those games, we won them by being defensively sound. And it sounds like the kind of like dumb cliche that someone like Martin Keown would say in his punditry, which is probably like the level I'm at. But if you don't concede goals, it's kind of sounds silly saying this, then you don't lose games. And it's simple. It sounds incredibly simple, but it's the truth, isn't it? And ultimately, I think that's one thing that Ancelotti's done. We're not going to concede as many goals. We're going to tighten things up a little bit, and even by the substitutions that he makes in game, you can kind of tell that. So he's had a massive impact there. He's had a brilliant impact on Mason Holgate. He's had a fantastic impact on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think probably Mason Holgate has maybe said something in the press as well similar to this, but I know Dominic Calvert-Lewin has come out and has mentioned the impact that Carlo Ancelotti is having on him as a centre forward, and Duncan needs to take some credit there as well. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin is averaging a goal once every 149 minutes now, something Catherintherye points out in this article on GrandOldTeam. Jimenez at Wolves averages one once every 200 minutes. So that just shows you just how well Dominic Calvert-Lewin is doing at the moment. And that's partly down to the way that Ancelotti has him playing now. And I think he's done incredibly well with Holgate. Calvert-Lewin, and obviously making us more defensively sound. We're certainly more sturdy. So, I think for me, I think it's been pretty good. I still have to pinch myself a little bit that he is the the Everton manager. And as I said, if we look at those defeats, ultimately City was at the end of a run of tough games, and then there's nothing that there's no blame that I can place at Carlo Ancelotti's door for what happened in the derby at Anfield. He put a side out that was more than well equipped enough to win that game against Liverpool's third team, and they didn't. And I don't think there was anything else that he could have done, or anyone else in the dugout for that matter could have done to win that game. It's a monkey that we've got on our back. I do believe that over time he will rectify it. It becomes harder and harder the better that they get. But I think that there will be a time when Carlo Ancelotti does beat Liverpool. And I'm going to say it on video now. I think he will do it at Anfield as well at some point. When that'll be, whether it will be next season, I don't know. But I think he ultimately. I'm kind of half confident that we could beat them at Goodison. I don't know. I shouldn't have said that on video. That's going to get chopped down now and sent to me, isn't it? But he's a class act. The only thing that I would say, because I was trying to think of a criticism of Carlo Ancelotti, and one of the things. People have pointed out the substitutions against Newcastle. I think he threw Tom Davies on, looking to shore things up in the centre of the park. It wasn't his fault that Davies didn't have a particularly very good game. But his assistance in continuing to throw Oumar Niasse in, that's the one thing for me where I'm like, I'm not sure. And maybe he's thinking, look, we'll get him in the in the view of the other clubs, and then we'll potentially find a buyer easier. But for me, it's probably putting clubs off. Because he's that bad, Oumar. He really is that bad. I don't hold anything against him, but he's not competent enough to play for Everton, and I think it's a bit of a cheat from him to turn his nose up at the Championship. So that's the only thing for me that Carlo Ancelotti probably has done wrong, I would say. I think. By the way, read Carlo Ancelotti's book or listen to it as I'm doing. I'm cheating. I'm listening to it on my commute at the moment, on my drive. It's really, really good. It's not your typical kind of football autobiography, which I think can be a bit tedious sometimes. It's a good kind of book on leadership as well, and those techniques that he uses to get people on side, and the things that people like Cristiano Ronaldo and Zlatan Ibrahimovic say about him fill you with a lot of confidence as an Evertonian, so I suggest that. But I would give Carlo Ancelotti a B for his first month in charge. If I was marking him for his homework, not that Carlo Ancelotti particularly gives a shit what some lad on a Saturday night doing a little video for YouTube thinks of him. But if I was marking it, I'd say a B. All right, could be better. There's been times when we've probably in a Newcastle game it was a mark against him. You could argue the Oumar Niasse thing, and but it's early days, so I'd give him a B. I'd give him a B. But what I want you to do now is to tell me underneath, leave a comment in the section below, and give Carlo Ancelotti your mark. I'm giving him a B, so let me know what you think. As always, thank you for watching GrandOldTeam. I'm Adam Partington. You can find me on Twitter at @PartAdam. You find me on Instagram at @PartAdam. You can actually win one of these posters now. Head over and check out the Falkland Blues on Twitter. Falkland Blues TV, they're giving away one of these posters, and you can buy them from there as well. And as always, remember to leave your comment underneath. I will endeavour to respond to every single comment. As always, thank you for watching GrandOldTeam. We'll see you again next time.